वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Okay. So, um, let us begin by chanting. We just began chapter 1, text 1. So we'll chant again. So requesting everybody to chant after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ॐ नमो भगवते
वासुदेवाय
वासुदेवाय।
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
Okay. So we'll chant all of this. We'll chant this verse together. We chanted it last time. We chanted it, um, means call and response. Now I'm not going to do call and response. We'll do call and response to the second verse after we read this. This we'll chant together. Okay. So
जन्मादि
जन्माद्यस्य
अस्य
यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट्
यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट्
तेने
तेने ब्रह्म
ब्रह्महृदाय
हृदायादिकवये
आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति
मुह्यन्ति
यत्सूरयः
यत्सूरयः।
तेजो
तेजो
वारिमृदां यथा
वारिमृदां यथा
विनिमयो
विनिमयो
यत्र
यत्र
त्रिसर्गो मृषा
सर्गोऽमृषा
धाम्ना
धाम्ना
स्वेन
स्वेन
सदा
सदा
निरस्तकुहकं
कुहकं
सत्यं
सत्यं
परं
परं
धीमहि.
धीमहि।
Okay, so all right. So we read the synonyms last time, so I'm going to skip that and we're going to go straight to the translation. So, Vivek, would you like to begin reading? Oh, sorry, this thing.
Sure, Prabhuji. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion as one is bewildered by the illusionary representations of water seen in fire or land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes, temporarily manifested by the recitations of the three modes
Yeah.
of nature, appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusionary representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth.
Okay,
Hare
I'm
Krishna.
going to do one thing very simple, like I explained last. I'm just going to briefly explain this verse before we get into the purport. So, this verse, first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, says, first it says, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, here the supreme absolute truth, Bhagavate, refers to the supreme Lord, supreme truth, and obeisances are offered to him. Om Namo. Om is always used as an auspicious invocation. It is the Pranava Omkara and must be chanted before anything auspicious. And Namo refers obeisances, Bhagavate, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Who is that Supreme Personality of Godhead? It is said Vasudevaya. And here the word Vasudeva is used because here Krishna is referred to as the son of Vasudev, meaning that this is very clear who the Supreme Personality of Godhead is. It's not even Narayana, it is specifically Krishna, the son of Vasudeva and Devaki. So, and by indicating this, the Bhagavatam indicates that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana and Vishnu are all his different expansions. So that's what it said. Janmadhyasya yatonvaya, that everything emanates from him. Everything, the creation, maintenance, everything emanates from him. Janmadi, Janma Adi. So as we see here in the purport, sorry, in the word to word, Janma Adi, creation, sustenance and destruction. Asya of the materialhood, Yataha, from whom? So directly and indirectly, everything is manifested by Krishna. Itaratas charteshva cha artheshu. So, and all purposes, that here Prabhupada says it very nicely, that I meditate upon Krishna. He's the primeval cause of all causes of creation, maintenance, destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, all purposes. Abhignya, Swarat, and he is fully independent because there are no causes beyond Abhignya Swarat. And what else? Tene Brahma Hridaya. He is the first one who imparted Vedic knowledge onto the heart of Brahma. Brahma was created by him. He gave transcendental knowledge to Brahma. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. He gave the original Vedic knowledge. Means Adi Kave refers to the Vedas. The Shrutis, they were spoken. The Shrutis which are not written, they were not written by any human being. They have been existing since time immemorial. They were spoken by Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to the heart of Brahma. Tene Brahma Hriday Adi Kaviye, Mukhyanti Yet Surayaha. And by him, all the great sages and demigods are put into illusion. Mukhyanti Yet Surayaha. Suraya, they become illusioned. The Surayaha, Mukhyanti, they become illusion. Even the great demigods become illusion. Means even great powerful personalities in the universe are not beyond him. And how are they bewildered? Just as Tene Mukhyanti Yet Suraya, Tejo Vari Mridam Yata. Just as illusory representation of water seen in fire or land seen on water. So sometimes, due to refraction and different things, you may see that there is land, but actually there is no land, it's water. For instance, those who are many of you are from Canada, you have what's called black ice. Black ice on roads. You'll not even know that the ice is there. It looks like land, but it's not land, it's ice. You drive on it, immediately you slip. So it's like that. So the illusion, and water seen in fire. So sometimes water, the fire, when it gets very hot, it starts to, things start to waver, and then it looks like it's water, but it's not water. So similarly, and such things happen even to the demigods, even to the great sages. And Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinimeyo Yatra Trisargo Mrisha. So that Trisarga, that the Trisarga refers to the three divisions of planetary systems. They are all Amrisha, they are all manifested. Etra Triskargo Mrisha. That they are all manifested by him. They are manifested by him, as Prabhupada says, temporarily manifested by the reactions of mode of material nature. Amrisha, they appear factual even though they are unreal. So this is the amazing thing. The material world, it is a temporary place. It is a dream-like situation, but there is reality in the dream. But this reality feels so real that just like in a dream, we don't realize that it's a dream. We think it's real. Similarly, we think that our existence, the temporary material existence that we have with this body, with our wife, children, country, wealth, all of this, we think this to be real. But actually, it's not real, it's unreal. And even the demigods become bewildered by this. Therefore, Dhamna Swena Sada Nirasta Kohakam, that Krishna is situated in his Dham, that he is not part of this material world, he's above this material world. He's situated in his eternal abode, Goloka Vrindavan. Dhamna Swena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam. Nirasta Kuhakam. That place is free from the illusory representations of this material world. There is not that Maya, there is not that illusion in the spiritual world. And to that, Dhamna Swena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam. Satyam Param Dhimahi. I meditate upon him. Dhimahi. I meditate upon him, for he is the supreme absolute truth. Who is that? Vasudeva, Lord Sri Krishna. So this is the summary of this verse. Now we'll go to the purport. Priyam, would you like to read? Sorry. Yeah.
Sure, Prabhuji. Obeisances onto the personality of Godhead Vasudeva. directly indicate Lord Sri Krishna, who is the divine son of Vasudeva and Devaki. This fact will be more explicitly explained in the text of this work. Sri Vyasadeva asserts herein that Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, and all others are his direct or indirect plenary portions or portions of portion. Srila Jiva Goswami has even more explicitly explained the subject matter in his Krishna Sandarbha. And Brahma, the original living being, has explained the subject of Sri Krishna substantially in the um,
Treatise.
tractate
Treatise.
named Brahma Samhita. In an Upanishad, in the Samaved, it is also stated that Lord Sri Krishna is the divine son of Devaki. Therefore, in this prayer, the first proportion holds that Lord Sri Krishna is the primeval Lord, and if any transcendental
Nomenclature.
nomenclature is to be understood as belonging to the absolute personality of Godhead, it must be the name indicated by the word Krishna, which means all attractive. In Bhagavad Gita, in many places, Lord asserts himself to be the original personality of Godhead, and this is confirmed by Arjuna and also by the great sages like Narada, Vyasa, and many others. In the Padma Puran, it is also stated that out of innumerable names of Lord, the name Krishna is the principal one. Vasudeva indicates the plenary portion of the personality of Godhead, and all the different forms of Lord, being identical with Vasudeva, are indicated in this text. The name Vasudev particularly indicates the divine son of Vasudeva and Devaki. Sri Krishna is always meditated upon by Paramahamsas, who are the perfect ones among those in the renounced order of life.
Jai. Thank you. So it one thing to note, there is a little difference. Here is Vasudev, and then you have Vasudev. So Vasudev is Krishna, Vasudev is Krishna's father. Okay. Sunil?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Vasudeva or Lord Sri Krishna is the cause of all causes. Everything that exists emanates from the Lord. How this is so is explained in later chapters of this work. This work is described by Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya as the spotless Purana because it contains the transcendental narration of the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. The history of the Srimad Bhagavatam is also very glorious. It was compiled by Sri Vyasadeva after he had attained maturity in transcendental knowledge. He wrote this under the instructions of Sri Naradaji, his spiritual master. Vyasadeva compiled all Vedic literatures containing the four divisions of the Vedas, the Vedanta Sutras or the Brahma Sutras, the Puranas, the Mahabharata, and so on. But nevertheless, he was not satisfied. His dissatisfaction was observed by his spiritual master, and thus Narada advised him to write on the transcendental activities of Lord Sri Krishna. These transcendental activities are described specifically in the 10th canto of this work, but in order to reach to the very substance, one must proceed gradually by developing the knowledge of the categories. It is natural that a philosophical mind wants to know about the origin of the creation.
Hmm.
At night, he sees the stars in the sky and he naturally speculates about their inhabitants. Such inquiries are natural for man because man has developed consciousness which is higher than that of the animals. The author of Srimad Bhagavatam gives a direct answer to such inquiries. He says that the Lord Sri Krishna is the origin of all creations. He is not only the creator of the universe, but the destroyer as well. The manifested cosmic nature is created at a certain period by the will of the Lord. It is maintained for some time and then it is annihilated by his will. Therefore, the supreme will is behind all cosmic activities. Of course, there are atheists of various categories who do not believe in a creator, but that is due to a poor fund of knowledge. The modern scientist, for example, has created space satellites, and by some arrangement or other, The satellites are thrown into outer space to fly for some time at the control of the scientist who is far away. Similarly, all the universes with innumerable stars and planets are controlled by the intelligence of the personality of Godhead.
Jai. Thank you.
Thank
Um, okay. Is Mataji?
Uma is right.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes.
In Vedic literatures, it is said that the absolute truth, personality of Godhead, is the chief amongst all living personalities. All living beings, beginning from the first created being, Brahma, down to the smallest ant, are individual living beings. And above Brahma, there are even other living beings with individual capacities, and the personality of Godhead is also a similar living being. And he is an individual, as are the other living beings. But the Supreme Lord or the Supreme Living Being has the greatest intelligence, and he possesses supermost inconceivable energies of all different varieties. If a man's brain can produce a space satellite, one can very easily imagine how brains higher than man can produce similarly wonderful things, which are far superior. The reasonable person will easily accept this argument, but there are stubborn atheists who will never agree. Srila Vyasadeva, however, at once accepts the supreme intelligence as the Parameshwara. He offers his respectful obeisances unto the supreme intelligence addressed as the Para, or the Parameshwara, or the supreme personality of Godhead. And that Parameshwara is Sri Krishna, as admitted in Bhagavad Gita and other scriptures delivered by Sri Vyasadeva, and specifically in this Srimad Bhagavatam. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that there is no other Paratattva, summon woman, than himself. Therefore, Sri Vyasadeva at once worships the Paratattva, Sri Krishna, whose transcendental activities are described in the 10th canto.
Jai. Okay.
Um,
Yeah, there's a lot of devotees who don't have so much time, so I'm going to have to keep moving on. Okay, Narayan.
Hare Krishna. Unscrupulous persons go immediately to the 10th canto and especially to the 5 chapters which describe the Lord's Rasa Dansa. This portion of the Srimad Bhagavatam is the most confidential part of this great literature. Unless one is thoroughly accomplished in the transcendental knowledge of the Lord, one is sure to misunderstand the Lord's worshipable transcendental pastimes called Ras dance and his love affairs with the gopis. This subject matter is highly spiritual, and only the liberated persons who have gradually attained to the stage of Paramahamsa can transcendentally relish the Ras dance. Srila Vyasadeva therefore gives the reader the chance to gradually develop spiritual realization before actually relishing the essence of the pastimes of the Lord. Therefore, he purposely invokes a Gayatri mantra, Dhimahi. This Gayatri mantra is meant for spiritually advanced people. When one is successful in chanting the Gayatri mantra, he can enter into the transcendental position of the Lord. One must therefore acquire Brahmanical qualities or be perfectly situated in the quality of goodness in order to chant the Gayatri mantra successfully, and then attain to the stage of transcendentally realizing the Lord, His name, His fame, His qualities, and so on. Srimad Bhag. Should I go?
Go on.
Srimad Bhagavatam is the narration of the Swarupa of the Lord manifested by his internal potency, and this potency is distinguished from the external potency, which has manifested the cosmic world, which is within our experience. Srila Vyasadeva makes a clear distinction between the two in this shloka. Sri Vyasadeva says herein that the manifested internal potency is real, whereas the external manifested energy in the form of material existence is only temporary and illusory like the mirage in the desert. In the desert, mirage, there is no actual water. There is only the appearance of water. Real water is somewhere else. The manifested cosmic creation appears as reality, but reality, of which is this but a shadow, is in the spiritual world. Absolute truth is in the spiritual sky, not the material sky. In the material sky, everything is relative truth. That is to say, one truth depends on something else. This cosmic creation results from interaction of the 3 modes of nature, and the temporary manifestations are so created as to present an illusion of reality to the bewildered mind of the conditioned soul, who appears in so many species of life, including the higher demigods like Brahma, Indra, Chandra, and so on. In actuality, there is no reality in the manifested world. There appears to be reality, however, because of the true reality which exists in the spiritual world, where the personality of Godhead externally exists with his transcendent
Eternally.
paraphernalia.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Narayan. Yash, do you want to read?
Yes, Guru. Hare Krishna, Guru.
Hare Krishna.
The chief engineer of a complicated construction does not personally take in the construction, but he knows every nook and corner because everything is done under his direction. He knows everything about the construction, both directly and indirectly. Similarly, the personality of Godhead, who is the supreme engineer of this cosmic creation, knows every nook and corner, although affairs are being carried out by demigods, beginning from Brahma down to the insignificant ant. No one is independent in this material creation. The hand of the Lord is seen everywhere. All material elements, as well as all spiritual sparks, emanates from him only, and whatever is created in this material world is but the interaction of two energies, the material and the spiritual, which emanate from the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. A chemist can manufacture water in the chemical laboratory by mixing hydrogen and oxygen. But in reality, the living entity works in the laboratory under the direction of the Supreme Lord, and the material with which he works are also supplied by Lord. The Lord knows everything, directly and indirectly, and he is con-
Cognizant.
cognizant of all minute details, minute details, and he is fully independent. He is compared to a mine of gold, and the cosmic creation in so many different forms are compared to objects made from the gold, such as gold rings, necklaces, and so on. The gold rings and the gold necklaces are qualitatively one with the gold in the mine, but quantitatively the gold in the mine is different. Therefore, the absolute truth is simultaneously one and different. Nothing is absolute, equal with absolute truth, but at the same time, nothing is independent of the absolute truth.
Jai. Thank you. Yes. Um, Akshesh, want to read?
Yes, sure, Prabhu. The conditional soul, beginning from the Brahma, who engineers with the entire universe, down to the insignificant ant, are all creating, but none of them independent of the Supreme Lord. The materialistic wrongly thinks that there is a no creator other than his own self. This is called Maya or the illusion. Because of his poor fund of knowledge, the materialistic cannot see beyond the purview of his imperfect senses, and thus he thinks that the matter automatically takes its own shape without the aid of the superior intelligence. This is the refuted in this sloka by the Srila Vyasadeva, since the complete whole or the absolute truth is the source of everything. Nothing can be independent of the body of the absolute truth. Whatever happens to the body quickly becomes known to the embodied. Similarly, the creation is the body of the absolute whole. Therefore, the absolute knows everything directly and indirectly that happens in the creation.
Jai, nectar. Thank you. Neeraj,
Yes, Prabhu Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
In the Shruti mantra, it is also stated that the absolute whole or Brahman is the ultimate source of everything. Everything emanates from him and everything is maintained by him, and at the end everything enters into him. That is the law of nature. In the Smriti mantra, the same is confirmed. It is said that the source from which everything emanates at the beginning of Brahma's millennium, and the reservoir of which everything ultimately enters, is the absolute truth or Brahma. Material scientists take it for granted that the ultimate source of the planetary system is the sun, but they are unable to explain the source of the sun. Herein, the ultimate source is explained according to the Vedic literatures. Brahman, who may be compared to the sun, is not the ultimate creator. It is stated in this shloka that Brahma was taught Vedic knowledge by the personality of Godhead. One may argue that Brahma, being the original living being, could not be inspired because there was no other living being at that time. Herein it is stated that the Supreme Lord inspired the secondary creator, Brahma, in order that Brahma could carry out his creative functions. So the supreme intelligence behind all creations is the absolute Godhead. Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna states that it is He only who superintends the creative energy, Prakriti, which constitutes the totality of matter. Therefore, Sri Vyasadeva does not worship Brahma, but the Supreme Lord who guides Brahma in his creative activities. In the shloka, the particular words Abhi, Jnana, and Savrat are significant. These two words distinguish the Supreme Lord from all other living beings. No other living entity is either Abhigyana or Savrat. That is, no one is either fully cognizant or fully independent. Even Brahma has to meditate upon the Supreme Lord or in order to create. Then, what to speak of the great scientists like Einstein? The
Mhm.
brains of such a scientist are certainly not the products of any human being. Scientists cannot manufacture such a brain, and what to speak of foolish atheists who defy the authority of the Lord. Even Mayavadi impersonalists
Sorry, this thing is.
who
Yeah.
flatter themselves that they can become one with the Lord are neither Abhigyana or nor Savrat. Such impersonalists undergo severe austerities to acquire knowledge to become one with the Lord, but ultimately they become dependent on some rich disciple who supplies them with money to build monasteries and temples. Atheists like Ramana or Hiranyakashipu had to undergo severe penances before they could follow the authority of the Lord, but ultimately they were rendered helpless and could not save themselves when the Lord appeared before them as a cruel death. This is also the case with the modern atheists who also dare to flout the authority of the Lord. Such atheists will be dealt with similarly, for history repeats itself. Whenever men neglect the authority of the Lord, nature and her laws are there to penalize them. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 4.7 in the well-known verse Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya Glanin. Whenever there is a decline of dharma and a rise of adharma, O Arjuna, then I incarnate myself.
Jai. Thank you. Vedavyas Priya Prabhu, can you read?
Yes, Prabhu. That the Supreme Lord is all perfect is confirmed in Shruti Mantras. It is said in the Shruti Mantras that the all perfect Lord threw a glance over matter and then thus created all living beings. The living beings are parts and parcels of the Lord, and He impregnates the vast material creation with seeds of spiritual sparks. And thus the creative energies are set in motion to enact so many wonderful creations. An atheist may argue that God is no more expert than a watchmaker. But of course, God is greater because He can create machines in duplicate male and female forms. The male and female forms of different types of machineries go on producing innumerable similar machines without God's further attention. If a man could manufacture such a set of machines that could produce other machines without his attention, then he can approach the intelligence of God. But that is not possible, for each machine has to be handled individually. Therefore, no one can create as well as God. Another name for another name for God is As, Asam,
Asamordhva.
Asamodva, which means that no one is equal to or greater than him. Param Satyam, or the supreme truth, is he who has no equal or superior. This is confirmed in Shruti Mantras. It is said that before the creation of the material universe, there existed the Lord only, who is master of everyone. The Lord instructed Brahma in Vedic knowledge. The Lord has to be obeyed in all respects. Anyone who wants to get rid of the material entanglement must surrender unto him. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita.
Jai. Thank you. Next, Stavya Prabhu, can you read?
Yes. Unless one surrenders unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, it is certain that he will be bewildered. When an intelligent man surrenders unto the lotus feet of Krishna and knows completely that Krishna is the cause of all causes, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, then only can such an intelligent man become a Mahatma, a great soul. But such a great soul is rarely seen. Only the Mahatmas can understand that the Supreme Lord is the primeval cause of all creations. He is Parama, or ultimate truth, because all other truths are relative to him. He is omniscient. For him, there is no illusion. Some Mayavadi scholars argue that Srimad Bhagavatam was not compiled by Srila Vyasadeva, and some of them suggest that this book is a modern creation written by someone named Vopadeva. In order in order to refute such meaningless arguments, Sridhar Swami points out that there is reference to the Bhagavatam in many of the oldest Puranas. This first sloka of the Bhagavatam begins with the Gayatri Mantra. There is a reference to this in the Matsya Purana, which is the oldest Purana. In that Purana, it is said with reference to the Gayatri Mantra in the Bhagavatam that there are many narrations of spiritual instructions beginning with the Gayatri Mantra. And there is a history of Vratrasura. Anyone who makes a gift of this great work on a full moon day attains to the highest perfection of life by returning to Godhead. There is a reference to the Bhagavatam in other Puranas also, where it is clearly stated that this work was finished in 12 cantos, which includes 18,000 shlokas. In the Padma Purana, also there is a reference to the Bhagavatam in a conversation between Gautama and Maharaj Amrisha. The king was advised therein to read regular Srimad Bhagavatam if he desired liberation from material bondage. Under the circumstances, there is no doubt about the authority of the Bhagavatam. Within the past 500 years, many erudite scholars and acharyas like Jiva Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti, Vallabhacharya, and many other distinguished scholars, even after the time of Lord Chaitanya, made elaborate commentaries on the Bhagavatam. And the serious students would do well to attempt to go through them to better relish the transcendental messages.
Jai. Thank you, Stavya Prabhu. Fanish?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yeah. Yes.
Srila Viswanatha Chakravarti Thakura specifically deals with the original and pure sex psychology, devoid of all mundane inability. The whole material creation is moving under the principle of sex life. In modern civilization, sex life is the focal point for all activities. Wherever one turns his face, he sees sex life predominant. Therefore, sex life is not unreal. Its reality is experienced in the spiritual world. The material sex life is but a perverted reflection of the original fact. The original fact is in the absolute truth, and thus the absolute truth cannot be impersonal. It is not possible to be impersonal and contain pure sex life. Consequently, the impersonalist philosophers have given indirect impetus to the abominable mundane sex life because they have overstressed the impersonality of the ultimate truth. Consequently, man without information of the actual spiritual form of sex has accepted perverted marital sex life as the all in all. There is a distinction between sex life in the diseased material condition and spiritual sex life.
Okay, Jai. I think we'll stop here. Okay, Mataji, you can read one more, this small paragraph here.
Sure,
This Srimad
Prabhu.
Bhagavatam.
This Srimad Bhagavatam will gradually elevate the unbiased reader to the highest perfectional stage of transcendence. It will enable him to transcend the three nodes of material activities: fruitive actions, speculative philosophy, and worship of functional deities as inculcated in Vedic verses.
Jai. So, Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai.
Jai.
So, we'll stop here. This concludes text 1 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, I wanted to briefly comment on one particular thing that was said in the towards the beginning. Let's see. Swarat. Mm, maybe I should look this up. Hold on. Oops. Sorry. I have to look it up here. Okay, yeah. So there, Prabhupada was talking about Gayatri Mantra. And I wanted to comment just so that, because this is something that we should know. This Gayatri Mantra is meant for spiritually advanced people. When one is successful in chanting Gayatri Mantra, he can enter into the transcendental position of the Lord. One must therefore acquire Brahminical qualities or be perfectly situated in the mode of goodness in order to chant the Gayatri Mantra successfully. So, this is a very important point. Nowadays, anybody and everybody chants Gayatri. It is not meant to be chanted by anybody and everybody. The Gayatri Mantra specifically is meant to be chanted only by those who are qualified to chant the Gayatri Mantra. Otherwise, it has Viparita Phala. It has a reverse effect. Because, why does it have reverse effect? Because the sound vibration. The sound vibration, it is said, Shabdat Nivirtihi, that this is the last verse of the Vedanta Sutra, that ultimately by sound vibration one can attain liberation. That refers to the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that it can take us out of the material world. But what we should also understand is that Shabda, sound, created the material world also. As for therefore, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. Kavaye refers to poetry, which is nothing but sound. So that Shruti mantra is Shruti, that which is heard. So it is vibration of that Shruti that has given Brahma the knowledge to create. And therefore, before, the Bible says that God first said there was light. Prabhupada said, before God said there was light, there was sound because God had to say it. So very amazing how Prabhupada said, did that. Explains things. It's quite amazing. So the point is that um, it is sound vibration that creates everything, and therefore sound has tremendous influence. And mantrayate iti mantra is that which can deliver the mind, but that which can deliver can also cause bondage, so we're not chanted properly, right? So the Gayatri mantra is like that. However, the Hare Krishna is known as the Maha Mantra because you don't have any rules or regulations to chant that, and still it has the effect. Therefore, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is better. It is not different to the Gayatri Mantra, but in another sense, because it is the Supreme Personality of God's name Himself, it is as compassionate as the Lord Himself. It is not different from the Lord. In fact, it is said that the holy name is more compassionate than the Supreme Lord Himself. That Nama Chintamani, Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha, Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukto, Abhinnatvam Nama Namino. The Abhinnatvam Nama Namino. It's non different from the name is non different, but it is more merciful than Krishna because it's Krishna himself, but he has made himself readily available to everybody. So, this is an important point about Gayatri Mantra. Just wanted to state that here. Okay, are there any questions or comments? Narayan, yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, where we read the last paragraph, it says the spiritual form of sex, like how to understand, like I got the point, like this material world is around, like the center point as of now, it's the only the sex life. But when they mention about the spiritual form, then like how to relate it and how to understand.
Well, the spiritual form of sex is present between Krishna and the gopis. That's the real sex. That actually, that which is the most elevated in the spiritual world becomes the most degraded in the material world. Why? Because Bhagavad Gita chapter 15. Urdhva moolam adashakam ashwattam prahur avyayam chandamsi yasya parnani yastam veda savedavit. That urdhva moolam adashakam. That urdhva moolam. There is a, Krishna says there is a tree in this material world. How is that tree? That tree has its roots upward and branches downward. Where can you find such a tree? You can find such a tree in a reflection. That's where such a tree exists. Otherwise, that means it's a reflection. That means the material world is a reflection of the spiritual world. That which is the highest in the material world is the lowest in the spiritual world. That which is the lowest, that which is the lowest in the material world becomes the highest in the spiritual world, or the highest in the spiritual world becomes the lowest, because that's how the reflection works. So that sexual activity, which is the conjugal relationship between Krishna and the gopis, which is very esoteric and the most highest thing, Unnatojwala Rasa. It is the highest of highest, very, very difficult to understand, very esoteric. That becomes the lowest. Krishna enjoying with married woman, that is the worst in the material world, but is the highest, and it's called Parakiya Rasa. We worship that because Krishna is Supreme Personality Godhead. Everyone belongs to him. Nobody belongs to anybody else. Everybody belongs to Krishna. So, just for the sake of rasa, in order to create excitement, apparently the gopis are married to somebody else. But gopis and their husbands, they all belong to Krishna. Krishna is the ultimate enjoyer. This is the point. But when that becomes a perverted reflection in the material world and we take the position of Krishna, trying to act like Krishna, we become extremely fallen, degraded, entangled. Krishna does not become entangled. Krishna did not get any sin. Rather, it was the greatest benediction. And so this is spiritual sex life. It is and that which is the highest in the material world. What is the highest? Dharma artha kama moksha. Moksha is the highest in the material world, but in spiritual world, moksha is the beginning. Liberation is the beginning of spiritual life. A devotee is already liberated. Pure devotee, liberation is a side effect. He is interested in serving Krishna. In fact, he doesn't care about liberation at all. Mama janmani janmani ishware bhavatat bhakti ravhai toki tvai. I want unmotivated, uninterrupted devotional service life after life. So even specifically moksha refers to the specific thing that is degraded is that the impersonal liberation, mukti. That is literally, it is not even considered in the spiritual world. So that's how it works.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, Sunil?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
What is the difference between Brahma and Brahman?
Oh, okay, good question. Brahman refers to the absolute truth. Brahman refers to Krishna. Brahma refers to the first living entity who was created by Krishna in the material world, who appeared from the navel of Mahavishnu, not Mahavishnu, who appeared from the navel of Garbhodakasai Vishnu. He appears as a lotus grown from the navel of Vishnu, and he is born in that lotus. That is Brahma. Brahman is supreme absolute truth, is Krishna himself. It refers to the absolute creator, the all-knowing, all-pervading supreme personality of God.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Okay, Vivek is asking a question. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I got my Gayatri by my father as per caste system and as via thread ceremony. Am I not supposed to chant? The thing is, you got it through the caste system, and generally one has to have the qualification to chant it. Now, for those who have fallen from their caste system, the recommendation is that one should develop the qualification and start chanting. Right? Prabhupada and the Acharyas were interested in re-establishing the Daiva Varnashrama system, but the Daiva Varnashrama system is not, one is not designated a Brahmana by wearing a 10 rupee thread. Nowadays it's 10 rupees to buy thread. It used to be 2 rupees. So one is not considered a Brahmana just because one has a thread. It is, one has to actually develop such a qualification. Now, what is the sometimes there are even devotees who sometimes they received Brahmanical initiation. Later they fell away, this, that, and they stop chanting their Gayatri. And some of these devotees, what they do, they take their Brahmin thread, they go and they say, Prabhuji, I'm just starting to practice devotion, so I don't feel like I'm a Brahmana. They take the thread off and tie it off with somewhere else or throw it away. Can't do that. Especially at least for Brahminical devotees. It was given by the Guru. You have to bring yourself up to following it. Not that it was given, and now I just reject it and act like it never happened. So the point is that one should develop the qualifications. Specifically, it as far as the thread ceremony, Gayatri ceremony, we are not saying that we don't go around advertising that those who are Brahmins, all of you, come on, give all of your threads. When initiation happens, give your threads. You are never Brahmanas. You are never really Brahmanas. Not like that. We encourage them to develop the Brahminical qualifications to actually start chanting the Gayatri mantra because it was given through their system. However, this Gayatri mantra doesn't really have its effect unless one is qualified to chant it. And so there are many devotees those who come from Brahmin families, they don't prefer to chant the Gayatri. I personally, when I joined the ashram, I didn't chant Gayatri because I didn't really get it. Like, my father is not a Brahmin and he gave it to me. But however, after Brahminical initiation, they start chanting. So it can be done either way, um, because there are both sides. There's both sides. The fact is that we are unqualified, but there's the other side also that, okay, we were born, so maybe we should come up to that level. Our ancestors at some point, your ancestors at some point were real Brahmanas. So we have to come up to that standard as their descendant to come to the platform of becoming Brahmanas. But Gayatri is not the main part of that. Like nowadays, Brahmins, they think the main thing is to chant Gayatri. No, the main thing is to live like a Brahmana, and the Brahmana chants Gayatri. But if you don't live like a Brahmana, just chant Gayatri, what's the point? So it has to be seen like that. Answer to your question? Well, I mean, you can chant, but you really need to live up to it.
Yeah,
But if you don't chant, you
it's
probably
clear.
won't get faulted. But
Yeah, I got it through the Upanayana
I know,
Samskara
I
according to
understand.
the
Yeah,
system and all. Yeah, I think it makes sense what you're saying. Yeah, we'll see.
yeah.
Maybe to try to come to that level. Thank you very
The point is at least someday you should start chanting, right? So,
Yeah.
okay. Anything else? All right. Okay. Jai, thank you very much. So, tomorrow, Mahotsav Prabhu will give his Bhagavad Gita class. I think that's at 8 p.m. Eastern. And I will see you all on Thursday. We are discussing from chapter 1. We are beginning text 10 of the Bhagavatam. So, many nice verses and purports there. So, looking forward to meeting you all on Thursday. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad
much.
Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च
Patruvyeva
कृपा
Paditanam
सिन्धुभ्येव च
Pavanebhyo
कृपया
पतितानां
Vaishnavebhyo Namo
पावनेभ्यो
Namaha
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो